Hey,
Right.
yeah, we're live. I see that thing lit up there. Does that say we live, y'all? Is it numbers
Live.
counting down or is it live? It's
We
live.
live.
All right. Yeah, all right. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, panel. Uh, Thank you for tuning in to the show that we call I'm Party Marty, Let's Talk, where we talk about important events happening in our world today, except for Gina Lee, who is our historian. A lot of events that she talks about have already happened. Well, if you're new to the show, what we always do is come in, say hello to everybody, watch this. Hello, panel. Hello,
Hello.
everybody.
Hello.
Good
Hello.
evening. That's what we do. And then, if you don't know our format, it can be called Around the Horn or it can be called First Take or whatever. But we let everybody talk for a minute on their topic and then, we go from there. But we always start off all our shows with a prayer. We're a praying group and we always do that. And after we pray, we get a quick little moment of silence for the people that's not here. Uh, I always try to tell people think about somebody when you have your moment of silence. Don't just stop for a minute because everybody else is doing it because it's what you're doing right now. Think about somebody that you want to, say hello to. The DMXs, your mother, your grandmother, somebody that's gone, and feel it. If you really feel it when you have your moment of silence, it'll work. Okay, prayer starting. Father God, thank you for the wonderful things that's happening in all our lives today. Father God, thank you for this chance to get out and meet America and from out of our living rooms, dining rooms, and myself, my patio. Father God, please, please touch everybody that's over there dealing with this God-forsaken disease, the pandemic. Father God, please keep the persons close that's over there fighting those God-forsaken wars so we can sit home and watch TV, eat bonbons, and do podcasts. Father God, we always have a special prayer for blackusa.news, bmorenews.com, and this producer, Donnie Glover, because he gives us a platform. And we know that Donnie is a praying man, and he always excited about anybody that's giving the group prayer. So right now, we'll ease off from that, and we'll have a moment of silence. Moment of silence, please. Amen. Father, we are in dire need of information. And that's what everybody is giving up. I want to start today with a shout out and a shout out and a thank you to my niece. Her name is Nicole. We call her Nikki. Nikki, first of all, this show it comes to you for information. We came off starting the show to talk. Donnie got me in here and told me that we're trying to educate people, starting with educating myself. And I just want to let you know how so many things we learned from. Nikki's last topic from the last show was money through the pandemic information. And Cece and I were afraid of dealing with these loans and stuff like that. First of all, we're on a fixed income. My lovely wife and I are retired, and we can't make any more bills. Can't make any more bills. I don't need anybody to come after me or my property or anything like that. So I never dealt with any of these loans. And Nikki told us that we were eligible. Said, Uncle Maurice, if you legit, all she asked you to do was one thing: be legit. Be legit. I've been legit. But once again, fear. When she ended the show, what did she say? Don't be scared. Get that money. Don't be scared. Get that money. My wife has now been responding to the people who have told me and our company, Party Marty's Moon Bouncers, who hasn't made any money in over a year, who really needs this loan, who just toughed it out because that's what I thought I was supposed to do, has told us, right, CC, we're filling out some paperwork. We may be in the process of receiving this income. This well needed money. This well needed money. And this started off, like I'm saying, it's just something we were doing the show. Well, I learned things. I learned that from Gina that prejudice, black and white swimming pools was in 1956. That's my lifetime. In my lifetime, we were still at Druid Hill Park, having black and white swimming pools. Crazy. I thought racism was 400 years ago. Didn't know information. CC tonight is going to talk on the new shooting. You know, every time we turn around, we're getting shot. Now it's a taser gun. I made a mistake. He moved everything. She's going to talk on that. Al always gives us his own topic. We use Al in there as an anchor. I'm giving this to you, y'all, because I wanted to say thank you for the information. I don't care if anybody else not listening. I don't care if anybody else didn't get anything. I don't care if anybody else didn't learn anything. To my panel, this is me, Party Marty, Uncle Maurice, Take a Break, Good Man, and Hubby. I'm saying to everybody that puts themselves out here for this information so we can learn something, if did nobody else get anything out of these podcasts, that's on them. But to my panel, I learn every day. All right, y'all. If you don't know my format, this is how I do. I go off and I say, when we're ready for the panel to talk, they'll talk for about 5 or 10 minutes on their topic and everybody joins in. Gina Lee has taught us something new that I say, okay. I'm Party Marty. What's your topic tonight? And then I'll say, let's talk. And Gina Lee we'll let her go first because she'll go off and tell you how we bring this subject in. Okay, let's do our thing. Okay, Gina, what's your topic tonight? I'm Party Marty. Let's talk. Gina deals with that hand. Gina, you could.
Okay, I got my mic on.
Okay, there you go. Let's go.
Gina Lee reporting here for Let's Talk.
There we go.
I have 2 topics this evening, and I'm not going to be long with them. But back it up on the rental situation. I just happened to listen to a forum with Nick Mosby.
Okay.
And he was talking about a new bill that's already been passed. It passed last Friday. And it's now on the mayor's desk. And once he signs it, 30 days after that, it will be in effect. Now, this bill will give renters the option to pay their security deposit as a lump sum, or the landlord can give them increments if they sign up for the they call it a surety bond, but it's actually insurance.
Okay.
Now, just as an example, say your security deposit is $1,500. Through this new bill, you can put down like $60. And over the course of your rental agreement, they'll space out the rest of your security deposit. Now, this will help people because there's going to be very soon an influx of people needing to seek new housing once this pandemic kind of, squelches itself. Mm-hmm. Now, this is nothing new. This type of relief has been in effect for years, but it was only accepted to affluent neighborhoods and organizations with big dollar amounts. So only affluent, renters and places like Johns Hopkins, University of Maryland would be able to access these things for the students that were seeking rental properties near the schools. So now that this bill is going to be put into place, this will help, because I know you've heard the stories where people have left the apartments pristine, but the landlord won't return their security deposit. But now with this insurance, unless the landlord can prove that they have actually done damage that needs monetary repairs or upgrades in some way, they have to return that money. And they have a legal recourse now. So as he was talking about it, of course, there was a landlord that called and was like, well, the bill is making the landlord seem like they're the evil one, and the tenant that we're preying upon tenants. And, but Mosby told him, he said, landlords help them craft this bill. So it's not like the landlords didn't have input. And then the landlord said, well, why is the company Rhino the one that's doing this? What's in it for them? He said it's not just Rhino. He said it's other companies as well. Nike, Reebok, all of them have been doing this for years, like I said, but only for affluent neighborhoods. Okay. So, he went on to talk about, what they're going to do about the youth works program and expanding it to a year-round program. And they're working with the Dante Boxdale CTE program to get local businesses to, open their doors to young people and help them ensure them getting a diploma, And he's also fighting for the $15 minimum for Department of Public Works employees, because some of them are only making $10 to $12 an hour.
Wow.
And so he's saying that he's trying to get young people interested in some of these jobs too: transportation, general services, sanitation, and so forth. Give them internships, because as people retire, they can step into their shoes. And then he asked him about the police department and what can we do to get them under control here in the city. And he said he wants to attack their pensions. So if you've been convicted of a crime, why should the city continue to pay the student of the crime, pay for their vacations, their schooling, their boats, their golf, and whatever else for the rest of their lives?
Right.
So he's saying they should attack their pensions. And, maybe that would help to deter some at least some level of accountability. Now, the other thing, go on to the other topic.
Go ahead.
Okay. The other topic was in regards to, we talked a couple of weeks ago about a school that had a student that had a 1.03, I think, grade point average.
Correct.
And was still moved up in fourth grade level. That was Augusta Fellows Savage Institute in West Baltimore. Well, they've been charged with some new accusations now. They have what are called ghost students. Now, these are students that that they say have not, they appear on the roll on paper, but they have not been attending class and haven't been, of course, promoted. So in 2019, the principal and assistant principal of that school were put on administrative leave in regards to the grading irregularities. But now, with these, after they went through all the transcripts, they found that 21 out of 434 students had not attended class and hadn't attended class for years. So, North Avenue, they asked them, so where's the money going? Because these schools are funded, federally funded.
Right.
And $16,000 is allocated per child for schools. So that totals $331,653. Okay, where's that money? Where is the money? So anyway, they said that when they asked the parents, well, has your child attended school? Of course, the parents were like, no, my child ain't been in school since 2019. Some of them said since 2017. Okay. Two students were enrolled and hadn't received a grade since 2015 in the school. Another four hadn't received grades since 2016. One student spent 5 years. Do you hear me? 5 years in the ninth grade. Another one spent 5 years in the 12th grade. And the school received funding for each and every one of these students every single year. $16,000 per child. Now, one student received 44 credits in 7 years. You only need 21 credits to graduate.
So he got a PhD.
Only need 21 to graduate.
So I think he must have a PhD.
So the question is, why is he even still there? Okay. So anyway, going on to say, Augusta Fells has received $5.3 million from taxpayers to educate 434 students on paper. But of those 434 students, 21 of them have never attended the school.
Wow.
So they went to, of course, Baltimore City Board of Education, and they're like, we're investigating. Once we've concluded the investigation and the employee process, we'll get back to you.
Well, Gina, first of all, thank you for that information. It's truly amazing to me. This stuff here is like never ending. The school process and this foolishness, it's like never ending. Now, let me ask to the panel and respond, please. Do we think that these persons are misappropriating these funds? Are the heads walking away with the money? I mean, where do you think the money's going? To the field?
I think they're going into somebody's pocket. Somebody's taking some good trips.
Yeah.
Well, and even with Augusta Fells, they found out that those officials, the principal, vice principal, who were on administrative leave, they've been getting a salary of something like $1 million or something. I'm not really sure what the number is, so don't quote me. But they've been receiving the whole time that this investigation has been in progress. They've been getting paid good, sitting home, failing the students, failing the system, failing at their jobs, but they still getting the same paycheck. So I think that's one of the places that we have to start. We have to stop rewarding people for not doing their job.
Yeah, that's first things first. Yeah, that's true. Hey, y'all, awesome topic, awesome two topics, Gina. It's sad the state that we have ourselves in now. It just gets worse and worse all the time. Stealing, robbing, shooting. I mean, who was it? Let me think. I think it was Biggie. On the news, bad news. No, that was who was that said that? On the news, bad news is all the news you'll ever see. Anyhow, it's one of my rappers. Heavy D. Heavy D. Heavy D. That was one of his smooth lines. On the news, bad news is all the news you'll ever see. Anyway, y'all, that was, Gina gets into her topics and she feels it when she starts bringing them to you. She's our historian to the people in the field that don't know. That's what she does. She puts a lot of effort, a lot of time to give you this information. So please take it and run with it and use it to your advantage. Okay, moving right along. Cece, I know something about your topic, and I know you were researching it for quite some time today. And let me hit you with my move here as I segue in. Hey, Cece, what's your topic this evening? I'm Party Marty. Let's talk.
And I'm Cece reporting there for Party Marty. Let's talk. So my topic for today is the murder, and I call it murder of Dante Wright. For those who don't know, 20-year-old father of one. We back in Minneapolis again, and this was in a suburb called Brooklyn Center, I believe. Um, he was shot during a routine traffic stop. The officer who shot him was a 26-year veteran of the force. Her name is Kim Potter. Yes, let's call her out, Kim Potter. She pulled this young man over for expired tags on his car. And when they pulled him over, they found that he had the misdemeanor warrants. So at the time when he got pulled over, the young man was on the phone talking with his mom, telling her that he got pulled over. And this officer, the particular officer who shot him, was field training another officer on this day. So we know that she is experienced because an experienced officer because she's training someone else. She her story is that she accidentally shot him when she meant to tase him. So a couple of things that I want to say about that is that tasers look and feel different from handguns. The standard issue for this police department was the Glock 17, Glock 19, or Glock 26. Now, these are the standard issues weapons for the police department, but the guns have a taller grip, they're much heavier than a taser, and they're often, as in this case, bright colored. So, and also they said that Glocks have a trigger safety that can be felt when touching the trigger. So clearly, she should have known from the look, from the feel, and when they showed her officer who her fellow officer who had his taser holstered, the taser was neon yellow. So when she was holding that gun in her hand, in my opinion, and this is just one woman's opinion, she clearly knew that she was holding a handgun and not a taser. So there are a few things that are really, I mean, the incident in itself is troubling, but there are a few other things that are troubling about this. It was an accident story. The Brooklyn Center Police Department protocol, their policy states that tasers are clear and distinctly marked to differentiate from service weapons. And the gun is supposed to be on the dominant side, and the taser is supposed to be on the opposite side. They're not supposed to be carried on the same side. So, how did she mistake the taser, which is supposed to be on her non dominant side, with the gun that was supposed to be on her dominant side? And the manual for this particular police department advises that the device should not be used against people whose position or activity may result in collateral injury, including people operating a motor vehicle. So even if she was going for the taser, that was against the protocol of this police department because the young man was behind the wheel of a car. And even when using the taser, excuse me, they're supposed to make reasonable efforts to target lower mass and avoid the head, the neck, the chest, the groin. So this was wrong on so many levels. And all of the unrest due to George Floyd that's going on in Minneapolis, this is just fuel to the fire. You know, people are fed up. They're tired of their babies being shot down in the street by police officers who are supposed to protect and serve. But when they get irate, when they protest, when they say enough is enough, then once again, the thugs. So, I
Yeah.
mean, it's just troubling on so many levels because I don't see how, if this officer was following protocol, that this type of mistake could have happened.
And thanks, he wasn't they saying she was training somebody?
Yes, she was doing field training on this day, and we're talking about somebody who is a 26-year veteran of the police department.
You know, I'm a licensed gun carrier, and believe you me, I know the difference between my gun with bullets in it and not bullets in it. So I would definitely know the difference between my gun and a taser. So in this, I've only had my permit a matter of a year or two, right, honey? And I
Yeah.
know that just from carrying a gun. If a person have been carrying a gun for 26, 28 years, come on. Some of this is just so suspect. But let me tell you a story that happened to me. Years ago when I was a young tyke, I had an apartment and the guys broke in my house. And they broke in my house on Monday, apartment. Well, no, we grown. I had a stash house. I was a thug. I had a stash house. They broke in there on Monday. They broke in the house again on Tuesday. Just so happened though, I called the police, the detectives and all them saw me. Wednesday, I was over there fixing something in the house, entertaining a female, and somebody came to the front door, and they was. I heard them, you know what I mean, young lady saying, "Get it." I'm saying, "No, I ain't gonna answer the door because I don't want to stop what I'm doing." Anyway, they was trying to take the window out, the window pane. Anybody know about them houses? Got the little door, they got the little window panes in it. You take the window pane out, you can reach your arm in there and unlock the door. So he's trying to take the window pane out, and I saw him when I got to the door. So I'm standing there. Next thing I know, he went to walk away. So I got to go back in the room to get the gun. Y'all always know, right, Al. I got the gun now. If I got my pants on, I got the gun. So he's walking down off the porch. So I tap on the window, get his attention. You know what I mean? Hey, what's up, Slim? How you doing? What's going on? He said, is Sharon home? Sharon home? I said, yeah, Sharon here. Who should I tell it is? He's Kevin. Okay. All right, Kevin, Sharon, Kevin down here. Ain't nobody. I'm trying to go back. So he act like he's standing on the porch. I go back. You know what I mean? I learned this. I'm sorry telling Nikki, you know what I mean? Because these are things that her father taught me. You know what I mean? He was my family thug. So I go to get Al and Gina. I go back in the room, grab the gun, go out the back door to come catch him on the porch. I'm gonna bring him in the house and kill him. You know what I mean? I'm mad anyhow because I can't say what he took from me. So I just told the police broke in and stole some TVs. He took my stash. So I go out when I get to the porch, he gone. So he walking down the street. So I try to run up behind him. I ain't got nothing but my no shoes on, some short pants. I go to run up behind him. Now, mind you, me, this is my first time ever shooting somebody. So I ran down and he went to run and I shot him. So if you don't know, Al, when you do these things, you real tough and you acting real mean. But when you shoot him, it's like, oh shit. What have I done? Did I just throw my damn life away? That's why I don't know. These killers and stuff out here, I don't know how they do it. When my first time shooting somebody, I was so afraid that I was acting tough, and I always was. Take a break and call him on and all this, but that was really just to keep me, I wasn't no killer. So when I shot this boy, the boy fell, bam, on the ground. So his boy starts coming back towards him. So I run over there like I'm shooting at him. I'm killing clouds, hitting the top of trees. I ain't shooting nobody else. I really ain't mean to shoot him. So anyhow, my story, here's the point that I got to. So I get back to him now. So the guy, I done ran him because I know I ain't got no more bullets. So I get back to the guy now and say, oh, this guy dead. When I turned, these skunks and stuff, y'all been shot before. When I turned around to look back, the boy was gone. I thought he was gone. So I'm walking back to the house and he go in the bushes. So he's a big light-skinned dude. I know I ain't got no more bushes. So I turn around, I grab him, hit him with the gun. Bop! You know what I mean? I'm a kid, McKee. Bop! I'm hitting him. He don't know I ain't got no bullets, right, Al? I'm hitting him with that gun. Back in the days when we had guns, they was 38, they was heavy. You can't hit nobody with a 9. That'll break up. It's a piece of plastic. So I'm hitting it, bop, and taking him to the house. I'm going to do my thing. Well, I wind this down. I got back to the house. Police came and everything because I'm running down the street, shooting up the neighborhood. Police came. Didn't know no better. I talk with my hands. Y'all know I talk with my hands. When the police police knock on the door. I answer the door. I'm standing there with the gun. I'm waving the gun all over places. I talk. Yeah, he was over there. The boy was breaking in my house. Gun all over. The police out. Whoa. He pulling up. He stops me. I think that I'm okay. I put the boy in the bathroom, you know what I mean, gonna get more bullets and stuff. As soon as he heard the police, he jumped out, said I was trying to rob him. He's robbed me. He owed me. How's he robbed me? When I got to court, y'all, I gave y'all all this so you would understand the format. He broke in my house. He did all this to me. When I got to court after having a bail and getting locked up and all this kind of stuff, let me tell you. But the problem was, I told a lie that I shot him when he was in my house trying to break in the house. Well, I shot him in the back, first of all. And then they had a trail of blood leading from where I'm beating him with the gun down the street up to the house. So I'm dead. But the judge said something to me. My biggest advantage was I called the police, and the detective was in court and said, yeah, Mr. Tate did call us. They had broken his house the 2 previous days, so he really saved me. But the judge said this to me. I was no longer in imminent danger. I don't know if y'all know this, but the state of Maryland does not have a self-defense law. If you shoot me and I shoot you back saying I'm defending myself, there's no such thing in the state of Maryland. I found that I was no longer in imminent danger. When I shot him in the back, he was leaving. Mr. Tate, you can't explain shooting anybody in the back for any reason. So, CC, and I'll let you get back in and respond and stuff like that. CC, you said he was getting back into the car, the person, right? So that meant that those officers were no longer in imminent danger. You
He was
muted.
getting back into the car, and he was really trying to flee the scene, which wasn't right. But the warrants that they had out for him were misdemeanor warrants. He was unarmed, and they just, when he was getting back in the car, she just shot him, you know. And just like I said, a gun is my. I've never held a police issued taser, but I have held a gun, and I know that a gun is very heavy. You know what I'm saying? I think that in comparison to anything else, I mean, you gotta think, you gotta accommodate for the bullets, the everything else that's on the gun. The taser is just a projectile, you know.
Yeah.
So it has to be, common sense dictates that the weight between the two would be different, you know. And just like I said, the taser that you could see hosted on her partner, it was neon yellow. So at no time when you were holding that gun in your hand did you look and see that you were holding an all black weapon and that your taser has a neon yellow handle, as what is the protocol for the police department is to make it that way so that you would be able to differentiate one weapon from another.
Cool.
So
Al?
I'm just not buying that it was a mistake thing. I'm sorry.
Well, what I want to say, I agree with everything CC's saying, but I'm gonna play devil advocate a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
With that situation, you know, the young man, they pulled him out the car. They was trying to put handcuffs on him.
Right.
For some type of reason, they couldn't get the handcuffs on him, and then that's when the guy looked back to the other officer. That's when he got back into the car.
Correct.
So that's when they were trying to pull him out the car, and the officer was like, "I'm gonna tase him." And she grabbed me, but somehow grabbing her taser, she grabbed it. She grabbed her fire weapon, and that's when she shot him. But then you can hear when she was like, "Oh my God, shot!" You know, she was surprised that she shot because she thought she really had a taser. But you gotta understand, one thing about these white officers, they are scared of us anyway. When they see us black people, they are naturally scared of us anyway. And then it was a situation already happening. I think it was in Alabama somewhere that an officer pulled this young lady over. He searched her. When he found drugs in her car, she broke free from him and ran back in the car, and she pulled her gun out and she shot the officer a couple of times. But then he ended up shooting back at her and killing her. So it's a lot that goes on in the officer mindset when they doing these routine stuff like that. It's just like we at work. We dealing with the individuals at work. You know, we know they are, you know, they broke laws, and they, you know where we work at, and everybody there got nothing but a body under their belt. So when they coming at you, you be in the heat of the moment. Sometimes things accidentally happen. And trust me, believe me, I'm sorry that the young man got killed. I'm sorry that happened to him, stuff like that. But sometimes we gotta be like, you know what? Let me just go ahead and let you lock me up, and I can just deal with this stuff in court.
Right. And just like I said, the young man was totally wrong for trying to flee. You know, that part I do agree with. But even just like you said, with the jobs that we work, you know, when we get into those jobs, we go into them with our eyes wide open. You know, we know the danger, we know the risk, you know, and we get paid a couple extra dollars to take those risks, you know. So my whole thing is that, had you been following the protocol with having your taser in one place and your gun in the other place, and I totally understand the heat of the moment. I totally get the heat of the moment, and sometimes we just react. But in a position, in that type of position, with that type of job, you got to be more careful. You know what I'm saying? You can't you know, mistakes happen, but how you gonna explain to that boy's mother? How you gonna explain to his 1-year-old son that they'll never see him again? You know what I'm saying? Because of your mistake. So
to be honest,
we all need.
To be honest, looking at the video, they could have, because the guy, he wasn't really a big guy. He was slim. He was tall, but he was slender. It was enough policemen there. They could have yoked him back out the car and then throw him down, then locked him up. They could have restrained him, and apply handcuffs on him. It didn't have to go to deadly force.
This officer is not a rookie. 26 years on the force. You out there training another officer. So then it makes me have to look at the next question is, are some of these officers the way they are because of the way they've been trained? You know?
Of course.
And a commissioner in California said they already knew who the boy was. They already had his license plate. So even if he had gotten away, they would have been able to find him.
Exactly. And I mean, even the warrants that he had out for his arrest, they were misdemeanor warrants. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It was like a failure to appear for something. So sometimes.
So what you say, Kate? Not an imminent threat.
It was no longer an imminent threat. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
He was getting in the car. I seen David just now post up at Murder One. That's what it is. I mean, I agree. First of all, great conversation, CC, very informative, and I'm gonna let you bring it home when I finish. But you know, just like Al was saying, you know, we're sympathetic to this. I heard the same thing because CC listened at it 10 times. You could hear saying, "I'm gonna tase him." If you want to know, in my opinion, was this an accident? It was an accident. She said, "I'm gonna tase him." You heard her say that, and then when she hit it, when the bullet hit her, she said, "Oh shit, I shot him. I just shot him." You know what I mean? But it's just too many. I'm wrong. Too many mistakes. Too many. I didn't mean it. I mean, I don't want this person's life to be. I don't want her. She's not to my panel. The officer that put his knee on somebody's neck for 9 minutes. You know that murderer. But you know when is enough enough? You know when are we just gonna say that this isn't a mistake all the time? Daphne was on here 2 episodes ago. Her son was murdered at a young age, and my grandson was murdered young. I can't go on too much because my wife just now texted me when I was talking a little earlier. TMI, that was too much information. I don't know. That's what happens. That you know what?
I wanted to text him and say the same thing.
But you know what start happening? Really, you start I'm telling you start feeling this. This is what the podcast is doing to me. I'm starting to feel these things. I'm starting to feel these things and stuff like that. I want to tell a story that somebody can understand. It happened to me. Somebody broke into my house, and when it was all over with, guess what? That snake just didn't go to court, and I went to jail. You know what I mean? The first thing they look back at my record, what I was doing had to do with what I did, nothing. But I started feeling it when I was telling that story. That's because of the panel. That's because of how Gina gets into it. Al jumped in. My wife has been researching this thing all day today. This topic has been with her all day. I've heard her researching it all day today. And I listened to her when the officer said, I'm gonna tase him. I'm gonna tase him. You know what I mean? And made a mistake and shot him. But at the same time, Al, we know, and they teach us this because, like I'm saying, I'm gun qualified, gun certified. It's a big difference between a taser and a gun.
Mm-hmm.
A taser feels like my wife. So did you know the answer to that? A taser is a toy. It's a piece of plastic. It has no weight to it at all. It by no means feels like a gun. If a taser is neon green and the gun is totally black, I don't even know how you mistake them. And you don't have a taser on the same side as your gun. These are two weapons. One has to be on one side, one another. Don't nobody hold two guns next to each other.
But the sad part about she almost shot the police officer too, because he was. You remember in the video, he was right there near the person when the suspect, and she said, "I'm gonna tase him," you know, and he was still trying to pull the guy out of the car, and that's when the gun went off. Yeah. And
just like one of the viewers just chimed in and said it took them 18 seconds to handcuff him, which never happened, and they should have moved him away from the entrance to his car. You know what I'm saying? Any time that you get pulled over and they take you out the car, they close the door and take you to the trunk of the car
all the time. Everybody know that. Yeah, everybody knows that. Yeah,
but you know the whole thing is whether or not it was intentional. You know, only she knows that. But at the same time, like, protocol was not followed, and as a result, a mother is burying her son. You know, so I mean, some we all make mistakes because we're human. But some professions that you in, you know, you gotta dot all your I's and cross all your T's, you know. And why was he perceived to be such a threat? Because he was a black man in the suburbs? Because this happened in the suburbs, you know. Does it, right, like Donnie said, does this happen to white people? Had he been a 20-year-old black man who was pulled over in the suburbs, this would have went a lot different, and nobody can tell me anything different.
The white boy could have cussed him out, spit at him, do all type of stuff, and then none of that would have.
Hey, y'all ever? I don't mean to cut you off, but you ever hear the white people tell the police, "I know my rights"?
Yeah.
Well, man, I know you know. I know my rights. You know your rights. I ain't never even thought to say that to a cop.
And listen,
you know what I mean?
And listen, you know, you know, my favorite show is Law and Order. And although I know it's TV, but I always get a real kick out of how when the police come to white people's house and they don't like, they say, "Get out." You know what I'm saying? Get out of my house. And that's totally acceptable. A black man will catch a bullet.
Yup.
Yeah, you hit Donnie. He just never put up there. I did. That means he told the police he know his rights. But once again, you know what I mean? I'm proud of Donnie, but Donnie's not a jailbird. Donnie been locked up. He's proud to tell you, he been incarcerated for days one time in his life. I've been incarcerated for years, several times in my life. I ain't playing with him. Hey, you know what? On that, as we segue into the next thing, we have to piggyback on that. Isn't it so sad? 3 days. Donnie was locked up 3 days. I took me 3 days to get processed. Anyway, isn't it so sad how they're making all these mistakes and killing us, but yet a boy shoots kills 8 Koreans and shoots 12, and he's brought in alive. You know what Al tell us about? They gave the kid that the mass shooting at the school. They had him in the police car eating something, eating a burger. Yeah. You feel me? They always bring these killers in alive, but yet we can't sell loose cigarettes. We're dead. You know what I mean? We can't do anything. We're dead.
Can't buy a bag of Skittles. You're
dead. You can't bring in a fake $20 bill. You're dead. You know what I mean? Can't say something back to the officer. I'm gonna put my knee on your neck till you're dead. You know what I
mean? Even though these incidents are happening all over the country, like, what in the hell is going on in Minneapolis? You know what I'm saying? Wow. What is going on in Minnesota? I'm not really familiar with Minnesota or what the demographics are there or anything. Never been, but like something is seriously going on in Minnesota, and somebody need to take a look at that.
I really don't know if it's specifically Minnesota. It's actually the whole nation, but it's about what gets covered and what doesn't. So
Right.
that's why I'm such a stickler of having people read things, find out about the news. Because if it's not in headline, if it wasn't captured with a video, a lot of that stuff doesn't get put to the forefront. And one thing when we were doing, when you were talking about how a white guy gets treated as opposed to how a black guy gets treated, that stuff, you're born with that. White people are born with that innate sense of privilege.
Yeah.
And when we talk about, I mean, I could just pull all of this in together, even the school systems and how the school systems is a pipeline to prison. And Gina told us earlier about how the money wasn't allocated properly. And I mean, that's just a testament of everything that's going on with our children from school until, they're older. And I think as parents, as mentors, as people that give back to the community, it's up to us to educate our youth about their rights, how to act, because some parents don't give them that conversation about walking while black or driving while black.
And that is so true. And it's just a sad reality that we have to sit down and have these conversations with our young black and brown men. Because, every time I see a story like this, I'm outraged as a citizen. I'm outraged as a person, but I'm also scared to death as a mother.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Because I have two sons that are in their 20s, and I've been having this conversation with my children since they started school about the way to conduct yourself if you ever stop by a police officer.
Right.
And it's important that we have these conversations, but it's so frustrating and so disheartening that we have to have these conversations.
It definitely is frustrating. But one thing, we can empower our youth. There's one thing when, they're being confronted with cops. And I know a lot of these cases, people didn't do anything to justify the treatment. But if we empower them with the information and let them know, if you get locked up, if they want to handcuff you, whatever it is, just make it to the station.
Yeah.
We can deal with everything else later. But some cops, I mean, and like this, the cop that shot the young man, it's disturbing to me because she was in charge of training someone else.
Exactly.
So how often is she being recertified or retrained? And like you need to train the trainer. So with this young officer learn on his, training, it's horrific. So who's doing the oversight for officers?
And the whole thing is that, just like you said, Nikki, we hope and pray that if we make it to the station, that we can handle all the rest. But Sandra Bland made it to the station. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like it's just so frustrating to just be in this situation for there's no other reason. I mean, we could try to rationalize it until we turn blue in the face, but it's just a reality, a sad one of the world that we live in today, that they make our skin color crime.
Absolutely.
Here you had the young man that he done served our country and get stopped by the police because they say his tags are faulty, and the tag was right there in the window. He
in uniform.
He was in uniform. Yeah.
If he had never pulled up to that gas station, he could very well have ended up in the same situation.
Absolutely. And he was
he handled himself like a gentleman. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Even though he was treated like less than a human being, he actually handled himself like a gentleman. you know. But he even knew that. I mean, this man was in uniform, and the way that officer treated him is worse than you would treat an animal. I mean, just continue to pepper spray him. Just
Yes.
continue. You know what I'm
And then
saying?
after
Not just
that,
one word.
right.
Just spraying the man in his face. I mean,
And he stated, officer, I'm afraid. He stated, and the officer said, you should be afraid. And here he is,
Yep.
a second lieutenant in the Coast Guard, like you said, active duty in uniform.
Yeah, that officer need to be fired.
he was
He already
He
fired.
was
fired.
fired.
He was
Yeah.
Need to
fired.
be locked up and beat.
That,
Yup.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
drug
they
That
by
asked
the
too.
him about the
heels.
beating,
He
but
was
they fired him.
he was training somebody too.
Wow.
Lord, Emmons.
That
Lord.
That
reminds me.
young man that was with him was a trainee as well.
Hey,
And that's
Alan.
what I'm saying. Like no matter what, like some of these officers, they behave the way they behave because of their training. Now we get a first-hand glimpse because everybody has a camera in their pocket of how these officers are being trained.
Good point. Good
And
point.
then
Good
and
point.
then and then they had the nerve to tell the young man who was in uniform if he filed anything against the officer that they were going to make his life a living hell.
Well,
So it
you
took
heard.
them all this time to bring this to light.
Wow,
Sad.
You can't
that's so
make it.
sad. Hey, good topics. I think about I'm gonna just say this real quick and let this go before we go into Nikki. Al and Cece and I work together for the state, and we have what's called preceptors. When you come to the job, somebody trains you. You know what I mean? And you, I look who sometimes maybe have precepting people. I don't know what the hell you think you're gonna learn from him. You're gonna learn where the break
Right.
room is. You're gonna learn how to go to the bathroom. You may learn where the
Learn,
cafeteria is,
learn how to
or
go to
you know what I
sleep.
mean? Learn how to
Learn how
go to
to go to
sleep.
sleep.
Who the hell? But who thought that this person would be a good preceptor? You know what I mean? They didn't give. They wouldn't let. Well, CC was always a preceptor back in the day, or Al and me. But then we got to the point where we wanted something. Give me a weekend off, or give me
There
$1. They
you
didn't want to
go.
give us nothing. So all the good people said, "I ain't precepting nobody else." Y'all remember that? I ain't
Yep.
precepting
I
nobody else.
remember
You
it
ain't.
well.
Everybody that was good, we felt pride in precepting people. And then they just got to the point where we didn't get nothing for it. Now, every time I walk around the hallways, I got this person following me. I may want to scratch my head, scratch my ass, something like that, but somebody follow me. You know what I mean? I don't want you following me. What time is your lunch? Whatever time their lunch is, that's enough of this. So what are you going to give me for it? Remember they said they was going to give us a weekend. Well, you know what I mean? They never did. And all of a sudden, everybody got together. Y'all said, we ain't precepting nobody else. So they start giving a precept to anybody. Well, what if the person that teach you don't know what the hell they doing?
Hmm.
Hey,
Very true.
moving right along, y'all. That's very true. All right, let's segue. And Nikki, you had a burning desire. You jumped right in there. Maybe we can. Well, our show at this particular time is gloom and doom. All we talk about killing and gloom and doom. All that news, bad news, is all the news you'll ever see. So we're gonna break this for Nikki because Nikki got one thing. I'm gonna tell y'all something about my family that's funny. And Nikki she'll comment on this, but we're the biggest group of hustlers you ever seen in your life. We call ourselves entrepreneurs, but we just hustlers. We sell you water. You know what I mean? We always will. So Nikki, watch. All Nikki's topic is going to be about money. No matter what week it is, no matter what it is, somewhere along the line, I can count. When I segue into Nikki, I bet you one of her topics is something about money. Well, Nikki, what's your topic this evening? I'm Party Marty. Let's talk.
I'm Nikki reporting for Party Marty. Let's talk.
There we go.
So let's just jump right into it. We talked a lot about the police and young Black men.
Yes.
And so it's no, secret about mass incarceration.
Okay.
Like we know that. Like slavery is still alive in 2021. And we have loved ones, we have friends that are locked up. And when people are locked up, they don't have, that I'll say this. Some countries, let's say New Zealand, Norway, and other countries, when they put people in prison, they rehabilitate them. They treat them humanely. In the United States, however, that is not the case. We have some of the worst prisons in the world. But what I want to really bring a point to, they've taken a lot from inmates. And I know if you do the crime, you do the time. I know all of that. But we all know that there are a lot of innocent people in prison. We have a lot of different cases. Even here in Baltimore, the 3 men that were let out last year, they were in prison for over 30 years for a crime they didn't commit. And we hear this all the time. So when our young women and our young men are in prison, how are they being empowered? How are they being rehabilitated? If anything, you go in prison, you come out, you're disenfranchised. You can't vote. You can't get jobs. You can't get other things. But you know me, I like to read. I like to research. And so I started looking into the stimulus bill, the first one and the second one. And I came to find out that people that are incarcerated, no matter how long they've been incarcerated, were eligible for the $1,200 stimulus, the stimulus payment, and the $600 stimulus payment. Now, who knew that? Like, who? So I did some research and I wanted to test it out. Inmates fall under a category of non-filers, such as people that are on SSI or SSDI. So once again, it wasn't made known to the inmates that they were able to get this benefit. Once again, they're disenfranchised. So some people made us think about it, and you started seeing, I don't know if anyone has seen it, but news reports of prisons that were being looked into because some inmates started filing for their stuff and they never got it. So I'm here to tell family members, friends of anyone that's incarcerated that you can get an $1,800, or you can start the process of getting an $1,800 check for your loved one or your friend. Now, I know this to be true and that it works. Is a very simple process. All you need to do is let them file as a non-filer, a traditional non-filer. TurboTax and also H&R Block are free to do this. I have my information. You can contact me. You can ask me about it. And one thing that I found, once the $1,800 was received, that person was able to give something to their children that they have on the outside. They was able to buy them, through their family members, a birthday present or a Christmas present. So while we may say it's just $1,800, that's like $18,000.
$1 million to them.
And they're getting paid 25 cents an hour to do work in the prisons. So I would just say to anyone and everyone under the sound of my voice, if you have someone, someone, it's 6 degrees of separation. So we all know someone that's in prison. Do them a favor. I mean, definitely talk to them about it, but apply for the money for them. They need it, not just for, so they'll have the money, but also as a sense that they're contributing to their family members' lives in some kind of way if they so choose to.
Nikki, thank you for that information. I'm definitely going to follow up on that. Uh, Sometimes TMI, my wife will tell me, we don't believe in steps. You know what I mean? I don't have step kids or nothing like that. You know
Right.
what I mean? Steps is something you walk on. My son,
I just want to piggyback. I just want to piggyback on what you were saying. I just want to piggyback what Nicole was saying.
go ahead. Al's, Al's froze for a minute. Listen, Nikki, $1,800 to my son is $1,000,000.
Mm-hmm.
CC, we send him money all the time, right? And when we send him $40, $50 to him, that's the
Oh,
world.
frozen.
Al, you unfroze? No, you froze a minute.
Oh, as Nicole said. Oh yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, you having a little problem, Al. Hey, listen, my son right there, that's a lot of money. $1,800. $1,800 is a lot of money to me out in the world. So I know what it is over
Yeah.
there.
What I want. What I, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
Yeah, I
you.
can hear you, Al. Just keep talking.
What I wanted to say was where
Donnie, maybe we got to take him out and try to bring him back. Anyway, Nikki, that was a good.
And also, I wanted to ask Nikki, do you have any information on the FEMA funeral reimbursement program?
Yes. So I haven't researched it completely, but I do know that for family members, if your family member died from COVID, that they're putting in place FEMA, which would give you up to $9,000 to bury your loved one.
Wow.
And usually, through FEMA, I can find the link and put it on my social media for everyone. I'll make a note of that, CC, so I can get that done. But yeah, it was just announced. I'm not sure if it's totally set up yet, but it's definitely something that's happening.
From what I understand, and this is just what from my understanding, like you said, it was just launched, but it's supposed to start really rolling in about 2 weeks or so.
Mm-hmm.
And FEMA is reimbursing up to $7,000 for COVID-19 funerals. So even for the people that have already had the funerals, if they can provide that proof that the person died from COVID, that they can be reimbursed up to $7,000. Like you said, it's something that I need to research a little more, or we'll be able to talk about the next time. But I just wanted to throw it out there because we're talking about all of these things that are available that people just don't know about.
Right. Right.
I watch as we go through the program. I watch Donnie Glover, our producer, do his thing. He up there rolling. Up to $9,000 in FEMA funds for burial, $1,800 COVID relief. He's sent Nikki's information across the screen. This brother right here, he's got a plan. I hope that we spend some time trying to get some of this information out. I just listened to Nikki in the last episode, and it may get us some money, right? See, 2 times. So what we really need to do, y'all, just spend some time. Al, you how you doing? You all right?
Mm-hmm.
You good, Al? Al back and forth this evening. Usually he has the good computer. I'm usually with the knockoff. For this night, the
Yeah,
night
I'm
he
good,
probably
man.
can hear me. Okay, go ahead. Do you think?
But I just want. I'm good. Can you hear me?
I can hear you great, man. Yeah, Al, this is a tough night for you. I get to laugh
Every
at you.
time you say, "Can you hear me?" he go out. Don't say, "Can you hear me?"
Yeah, they said, don't say, can you hear me? Hey, I'm going to tell you something, though, Al. We can't hear you, but you look good.
Can you hear me?
Boy, you got a big, yeah, we can hear you, man. Just
Yeah.
don't say, Cece said, don't say, can you hear me?
Okay, I was saying.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Wow.
We got to laugh at that later on. Hey, on that note, let's get to another subject here. Let me see. How do I start this? Trying to make a difference. Okay. Trying to make a difference. What part are you playing? Trying to make a difference. You know, trying to make it. What part are you playing? Gina, every time you start talking history to her, she smiles, sits back. She fancies herself a historian. And she does the research. What part are you playing? Did you see how much information that Nikki has given us? People are getting money from this, starting CC with us. My wife is an avid reader. She played around with her little her podcast presentation today all day. She researched that all day. And me, I get up here, I learn all the time. Donnie said, Party, how you doing, Party? I said, man, I'm doing good. He said, man, is it any points you want to hear? I said, Donnie, you can always tell me whatever I need to hear. You know what I mean? So, you say not in a rum and stuff like that, whatever it is I say all the time. You don't even know you're saying it until you say it all the time. And Donnie told me, you got a problem with one small thing. You have one of the best panels, if not the best panel in television and podcast on the radio. So don't keep making a mistake and saying my show, because it ain't your show. It took me a minute to realize I never knew I was saying I'm Party Marty. It's my show. It's not my show. This is a group. So the point I'm saying is, what part are you playing? Are you CC went on? No, Nikki last week went to Donnie's show to talk about the stimulus, people getting the money. In the process, the lady came on Nikki's show that was feeding the homeless. Now, by her being on Nikki's show feeding the homeless, tell me what you and your mother did the other day, CC.
Went down to the shelter and took some food to feed the homeless.
To feed the homeless.
Took some macaroni and cheese down there, just like she asked for.
A little bit of macaroni and cheese, or how much macaroni and cheese?
Enough to feed 100 people.
Wow.
Do you hear me? Give her a hand, give her a hand, give her a hand. Panel, come on, give her a hand, give her a hand, give her a hand. You know what I mean? Her and her mother was out there feeding the homeless. Now, after that's been done, she felt so good about it. When she left from there. What else did y'all do? You went to see your brother?
Yes.
Went to see your brother. Just doing things for that day. What part did you play in participating and helping somebody out? You know what I mean? We got a thing with James Mosier, Donnie, and I are members of. If it is the B, let it start with me. What part are you playing, y'all? If you're not doing anything to help somebody, then you're not doing anything to help yourself. Al's moving around there, Al. I think you might be in there. You looking good in there, Al. Unmute him.
Yeah. You looking clear now.
You looking clear. Unmute him, Donnie. Let's give him a chance. Let's go.
Hey,
don't say, can you hear me? Please don't say, can you hear me?
You know what
we can hear you. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Look,
wait a minute. No, we segue in there. Don't comment on that. Hey, I'm Party Marty. Let's talk. Featuring Al. Let's go.
I'm Al.
Your topic for the day.
Look, I'm Al reporting for Party Marty. My topic for the day, I wanted to talk about PTSD, and also. Wow. Yeah, and also I wanted to touch a little bit about DMX.
Okay.
You know? But what I want to touch about with DMX, you know, I was looking at a couple of videos that people had set up for him on YouTube and stuff like that, and you know, and all these people was coming out saying how good of a person he was and what he did for him, stuff like that. And I'm like, why didn't he share this with this brother when he was living? I would listen to the Russell Simmons. He sit there and said that DMX saved Def Jam. Def Jam was going bankrupt until he found DMX, and then and DMX pulled them from out the gutter. But why you didn't tell his brother that when he was living? You know, and people sit up there and say, "Well, he was doing so good. Why did he go back to the drugs and stuff like that?" But you never know what people fighting with. You know. Demon. You know, and it's the saying I always say, you know, you have childhood trauma. Childhood trauma turns into adult trauma. Adult trauma turns into PTSD. all day long, and there's so many people around here walking with that. Because we grew up, and I know everybody heard this. Whatever goes on in this house stays in this house. You don't care, but you might get, but you might got the nasty uncle is touching you and stuff like that. But you better not tell, because whatever goes on in this house stays in this house, and that person carries that for years and years and years. And then on top of that, on other type of trauma they be going through their life as they can becoming teenagers, young adults, then adults. So you got all that stuff piled on top of each other. So what that person know what to do? They go to the drugs. They go to alcohol. They try to numb that pain. They try to forget about them nightmares they having from what happened to them in their past. So, and in our Black community, we don't talk about going to a therapist. Oh no, I'm not. You say that. Oh, you crazy. So, what I'm trying to say, we gotta do better, and especially with our young people right now, getting them out there, getting them help for the stuff they are going through. Because so many of our young people are being raised by broken people. And that old saying, hurt people hurt people. Even though that might be their children, and I know they love their children and stuff like that, but when you hurting, what you know, only thing you know is the hurt. So
right.
So we got, we I don't know what we can do to try to fix the problem, but I feel like if we can fix that, I feel like a lot of stuff would fix itself. The killing in the neighborhood, all that, everything. I think it would fix itself, but we got to learn how to fix that issue first.
And one thing, Al, that we learn as mental health workers is that we always put a focus on trauma informed care,
Mm-hmm.
because when you care for people with these mental illnesses, you have to first address the trauma that is usually the underlying component of all the things that are happening with these people. So you have to take that holistic approach where you have to treat not only the physical, but the mental, and you have to address the trauma and make sure that they have effectively dealt with the trauma. Because if not, they've been traumatized and they'll repeat the cycle and continue to traumatize other people.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And one thing about trauma, you can be trauma informed, but not everyone is trained in trauma.
Correct.
I deal with a population of survivors of human trafficking, and being trauma informed is one thing, you know about it, but how to actually go about it and treating it is something totally different. And I think that is one of the issues. A lot of the mental health workers and therapists, psychiatrists, they know their stuff, but a lot of them aren't trauma trained to deal with it. And the PTSD issue is so serious. A lot of people are being misdiagnosed with bipolar and other mental illnesses, and what that person actually has is PTSD, because the symptoms are a lot of the same.
Mm-hmm.
So being trauma informed is one thing, but we need our mental health workers to be trauma trained so they can effectively help the children and help adults.
On that note, if you think about it, sometimes you don't know what's inside a person. Just like, Al was laughing and Cece was texting my phone. You give them too much information. That was a story I was never able to tell about being locked up for somebody breaking in my house. I was finally getting to tell the story. I forgot all about it. I was on the podcast telling the damn story. You know what I mean? It started getting good to me. But I never got to say that. People don't get to do my state time before Perkins was Baltimore City Child Protective Services. I was a transportation supervisor. Nice, prestigious job. And I left there because it's a 30-year retirement, and I went to Perkins, which is 20. Now, that being said, what people don't know, here's what's up with our young people. All the adults in a lot of these young people's lives have either beaten, abused, raped, molested, or abandoned them. Let me get it to you again. A lot of these young people, all the adults in their lives have either beaten, abused, raped, molested, or abandoned them. We are the enemy. Now, let me tell you what, I'll give you an example. I come over to your house. Okay, let's a little further. Shanique was in school. Shanique was looking a little different when she gets to school and stuff. The teachers knows, what's wrong with you, Shaniqua? You're not doing as good on your test. Oh, everything is okay. Shaniqua, you want to talk to me? No, everything is okay. She goes by, she's getting zeros, she's doing bad, she's distraught and stuff. So all of a sudden the teacher said, just talk to me, it's fine. Ain't nobody gonna know. She said, okay. So she confides in her teacher. She tells her teacher that Billy Jim Bob, her mother's boyfriend, has been fondling her. Billy Jim Bob, her mother's boyfriend, has been fondling her. So she says to the teacher, I don't know how to tell my mother because my mother will get mad at me and think I'm lying. What does the teacher do? The teacher has to go off and tell the principal. That's the rules. That's the law. The principal has to call Baltimore City Child Protective Services. Baltimore City Child Protective Services calls me, the social worker, and the police officer. I go over there, an adult. The social worker, an adult. The police, an adult. We come over to the house. We take her out of the home. She's skating up down the street having a good time. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, playing with her friends. We come to her house and tell her what's going on. Do we lock Billy Jim Bob up? Absolutely not. We remove her from the home. Billy Jim Bob then goes to court. We tell her mother what's going on. She's a lie. She's making that up. Mother don't want Billy Jim Bob to leave because Billy Jim Bob pays the bills around there. Now, let's bring this back home. She told the teacher who told her she wouldn't tell, an adult. Who told the principal, an adult. Who told Child Protective Services, an adult. Who took her out of the house? Me, an adult. Who's standing next to him? The police, an adult. All the people in her life that are adults have beaten, abused, raped, molested, or abandoned her. We are the enemy to these young people. Then they'll go off and join a gang, and what the gang say? You don't need nobody, I got you. I'm Big Brother Mike T. You feel me? This is what I'm saying. We don't even see it that way because we don't know what's happening. But y'all, it happens. And then when you know it, they don't trust us anymore. So guess what they do? If Billy Jim Bob ever falls again, she don't tell nobody. She lay there and take it. I asked the little girl this before I move on to the panel. I said, well, why didn't you tell anybody after he started messing with you again? You know what she told me? I closed my eyes because it didn't take that long. She closed her eyes while he did his business because it doesn't take that long. You feel me? She tried telling us. What did we do? When we finished, she was over there in Child Protective Services doing overnights at somebody else's house. Or who knows if that person's child fondled it again. You get what I'm saying? So that's that. Okay, y'all, just touching on some points. Here's what we do now. We like to move around. We got about another little 10 minutes of a great show. Anybody got a burning desire? Anybody got a topic they want to touch on?
Oh, I did want to. I don't know whether it should be public information, but first I want to say I don't know whether y'all know two of our friends, Tate and our friends from Druid Hill Park Pool, Cherokee and Daryl Anderson.
Right.
Cherokee's daughter survived the surgery that is helping her be much better. So prayers out to her.
Okay.
And Daryl Anderson's daughter was on what's that? Let's Make a Deal today. And
Stop lying.
She was one of the big winners.
Stop lying.
What was she dressed up as?
Hands up. Guess what? If she was on Let's Make a Deal today, talk about it, CC, because she watch it every damn day.
What was she dressed as, Gina?
A donut.
Oh yeah, she won the big deal of the day.
She got the biggest cash
Oh
prize.
yeah, she,
But when
she
they
cashed
came
up on the
into
big deal of the day because
when
she
they
won
came into her,
$20,000.
She
you
won
know how
what?
Wayne Brady asked you
She
whether
won
you
twenty
want to play
thousand
the game.
dollars.
She said, "No, I want to keep my
Yeah,
cash."
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
she played that
Hey,
piggy bank game.
hey,
Yeah,
that's Daryl's daughter, right?
yeah,
Well, believe you me, she's intelligent. Daryl's the principal. So he ain't playing no dumb kids. I ain't giving
right.
away no $10,000, $20,000 to
That's
try to
right.
win no trip to the Bahamas.
She won 20,000, and then she was eligible for the big deal of the day. But the big deal of the day was only 22,000 or something. So
Right.
she was like, I'm gonna keep that 20,000.
That's right. And she
Damn,
made a
that
good choice.
that was
Good
some
choice.
feel good stuff right there. That was some feel good right there. Anybody
Yeah.
else got a topic? Hey Al, we lost you for a minute there. You got something to talk about, big homie?
No, I just want to say again, I just want to thank Miss Nicole for the information she gave on last week for the PPP on loan. Like I said, 'cause it helped me out a lot.
You
You know,
put your paperwork in, Al?
actually,
I'm so happy for
I
you.
put mine in with my bank. Because
Uh huh.
if you have a business account with your bank, your banks is offering it.
Are they forgiving it?
Yes,
You have to
Oh
go
because
well.
all of
through
it's
a
coming from the
process
feds.
for forgiveness.
Yes.
But you can apply with your bank. Um, if you have like sole proprietorship and you're doing it just under your name,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's totally up to you. A lot of lenders are offering it. It's all around, but people just don't know about it. They may think that they don't qualify for it or other things of that nature.
And
But
I just want to say to anybody that's hesitant, I used the exact information that Nicole gave us last week. And I mean, it was a seamless process. It was so easy to do until I was almost embarrassed that it took me so long.
Mm-hmm.
just don't be
Wow.
embarrassed. Just spread the word.
As Nikki always say, don't be scared. Get that
Get that
money.
money.
Don't
Look
But
be
you
at
know,
look, hey,
scared.
hey, look at that. If you want, look at Al, look at Al, look at that smile, look at me and Al, look at CC, look at that. We waiting on that money. You
you
feel
saw
Yes,
with
me?
a
The
smile
hit.
yes.
and went and got that money.
Yeah, that's right. I ain't
That's
scared.
right.
Show
And
me
I'm
the
gonna tell you,
money.
yeah, yeah, go get that money. And I'm gonna tell y'all real talk. I'm gonna do the right thing with mine. Mine ain't to go get me a couple new pair of jeans or nothing like that. Mine is to make my business survive. I
Mhm.
urge y'all, but especially when you get these stimulus checks, that 1,400, it's designed for you to put that money back into society. If you put the money, Karen's not here. Well, Nicole's here. She a holy roly Bible told her too. Remember the one?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's right. Remember the one? What was they saying? It was biblical where it was three ways the guy had money. Somebody gave somebody some money and somebody saved it. The other person invested it and this like that. If you take this money, you put it in the bank and it sits there, you didn't do what it was planned to do. Put the money back and circulate. Rent, get some glasses from Al. You know what I mean? Rent you a moon bounce from Party Marty's moon bouncers. You get what I'm saying? It's designed to go back into the system. You know, Nikki is avidly running up to everybody telling you that you can get this money. They want us to get our economy back together. And the only way we can get our economy back together is we need to spend some money. Well, y'all, to the panel, you know what I
Unmute
mean?
yourself, Nikki.
What I would add to that stimulus money that you get,
Yeah.
start yourself a small business. It will be well worth it. And if you need information, you can email me at myubcreations@gmail.com. Start yourself a business
Real talk.
Amen.
And it doesn't matter what kind of business you
at
start.
all.
I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna tell you something. Anything in life you're good at, you're gonna like. Anything
Mhm.
you like, you're gonna be good at.
Yeah.
I do real good as a mental health worker in these godforsaken jails and hospitals and stuff because I like helping people because I know somebody helped me. And my big advantage is I ain't afraid of you. I don't care how tough you supposed to be and what you said. Me and Al and Cece know you acting real tough and cussing at everybody because you scared. We know you scared. You really ain't trying to be tough. You know what I mean? When it's all over with, I wait till you go down the end of the hall and catch you in that little laundry room, all there. And I said, well, all that old stuff you talking, who to be now? You know what I mean? I just make you think about doing something to help yourself. Make sure you help yourself, y'all. Everybody that's over there that needs some help, please let somebody help. You know, if
That's
you're
right. And understand that self-care is not selfish. You got to take care of yourself before you can take care of anyone else. So remember that.
You know what? When the podcast started today, my wife, I'm gonna blame everything on my wife. My wife is modernizing or doing some work in the yard. You know what I mean? In case anybody else is going through this foolishness and stuff, there's nothing wrong with the yard. The yard was fine. So she got a new back patio set, and that's the domino effect. Now the pillars ain't that good on the back patio set. Then we needed a bar. Now it's too dark back there. We need some light. So when it came on, I was out back because I've been working with the people working. So I was running a little late and I was excited and everything. So my wife is gonna give me a lecture. Al gonna talk to me. I've been all over the place tonight. I don't know what I'm doing. This was an exciting night for me. Al. You'll call me up and tell me. Gina Lee laughing because she been knowing me for 60 years, and my wife will give me the story. But I want y'all to know, real talk, y'all. These podcasts, if don't nobody else get anything out of it, I do. I look forward to this all with that look on the face though. I look forward to this all week long. I look forward to this all week long. And the day because all of a sudden, Cece, my wife is a calm person. She turned around and told me, baby, you know the podcast in 15 minutes. I'm up in a tree with a string of lights, drills in my head, saws and stuff like that. I'm saying, when was you gonna tell me? She said, I'm telling you now. That was it. And then turned around the same thing and said, everybody texting you. And I was in a fluster. So when I came, I was all over the place this evening. And I know I shared too much and everything, but I wait all week for this. If nobody else get no information out of it, to my panel, yo, man, thank you. For people like myself and the people like yourself, and this is a good panel here to talk about this. We spend our day, our week, our month, our year, our life doing everything right. Everything right. Everything for everybody else. Everything for everybody else. Sometimes, man, don't you want something to be just for you? Just for you. This right here, y'all, is for me. I don't care how many y'all on the panel. I know that this is for me. So I to my panel, thank you very much for always participating and get me through. To Donnie Glover, blackusa.news, bemorenews.com, unapologetically black, and the new book. If I don't get a chance to tell y'all, know y'all can tell water coming out my eyes now. I'm a little excited. But if I don't get a chance to tell y'all, everybody, thank you. Nikki, to show me how to get the money, thank you. Al, to my ankle, who's always been there, thank you. Gina Lee, for all the research you do, all the books that you read, you historian, thank you. And a special thanks to the most wonderful person that I know, the best thing that ever happened to me, my lovely wife, thank you. So anyway, while I got y'all, thank you. You know what I mean? Real talk, real thank you. You know what? Yeah. If y'all don't know what y'all are, all of y'all people here that's on this panel and my producer, you are all GOD. Greatness on demand. That's what you are. Gina taught us, hands up, hands up, hands up. You are all GOD. Greatness on demand. Hey,
There
CC,
you go.
bring us home, baby. What's your thought for the night?
My thought for the night is to just tell everybody to just hold your children close, have those difficult conversations with them, because even though we don't want to have these conversations, it may save their life. So I just like to say a special prayer for everybody out there, for the parents of this young man who was just accidentally killed, and to tell everybody to you know, just pray for our world. That's all I can say. It's just so disheartening.
Gina Lee, Rosanna, Dana, Anna, closing thought.
I'm just gonna say, if you're thinking about it, please, and if you haven't done it, get vaccinated.
Oh, I love that. Nicole, closing thoughts.
I would just say that we need to remember that united, we need to stand united. And one of the most important things, break up with fear. Break up with fear and be pushed into your destiny.
Awesome, Nikki. Big Al, closing thoughts.
I just want to say, first of all, I want to say to you, Marty, thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for asking me to be a part of this. Because like the same way you look forward to it, I look forward.
Taking too long. And Al, let me tell you something. Remember, don't ever say. There you go, Al. Don't ever say, "Can you hear me?" Because if you
No, I
say,
can
"Can
say
you
that.
hear me?"
No,
you're done.
I just want to say thank you for the panel. Thank you for all the good information y'all put out there because I'm learning. Every Tuesday, I'm learning. I
That's
learned
what's up,
something
man.
new, and I thank y'all. God bless y'all. I'm about to get ready to take myself to bed because I got to work tonight.
I don't. Hey, real tough. Y'all know what I mean. I want to bring this home. I just want to let y'all know, piggyback on what Al said and what the whole panel said. I don't care what everybody else gets out of it. I'm Party Marty. Let's talk. This little thing that we have is for me. I enjoy myself. I look so forward to this. Donnie, I'm going to tell you, they may be getting on my nerves. Donnie, I may need another night or something like that. I don't know. But to blackusa.news, but to bemorenews.com, to Donnie Glover, our illustrious producer of this thing. Everybody, y'all, please try to support this brother. Please try to support our panel. Y'all know how I leave out of here. I'm real excited tonight. Eminem, one of the greatest rappers that we ever seen. Remember, y'all, this is not a black show. This is not a white show. It's just an informative show. Eminem says something. He ends this with this. You need to lose yourself with the music, the moment. You need to own it. I never let it go. I only got one shot. I did not miss my chance or blow. This opportunity came once in a lifetime, yo. To everybody out there, have a good evening. Hands up, panel, hands up, hands up, panel, hands up, hands up. Thank you, Dottie. Thank you, everybody. Good night, everybody. Good night, CC. Good night,
Good
Gina.
night. God bless
Good night,
everyone.
Judy.
Take care.
Good night, Al. Good
Good
night,
Good night.
night.
Donnie. Good night, John Boy. See you next week.